Hey everybody, AMD has fallen by nearly 35% over the past 12 months, dramatically underperforming the S&P 500's 9% gain over the same time period. However, AMD does have a long history of outperformance, and it trades at a reasonably cheap 24 times forward earnings right now, despite excellent momentum in its business. So is this chip maker truly a bargain, or should investors stay away? Today, I will break down AMD's current performance, look at the threats and opportunities facing its business, and finally, I will share my prediction of where AMD could be 5 years from now. So let's look at AMD's current performance. Last year, in 2024, AMD grew its revenue by 14% year over year to an all-time high, and thanks to solid expense controls, its gross profit increased by 22%. Adjusted EPS grew by 25%. That is an impressive growth rate considering the scale of this business. In the first quarter, the one that was just reported, the first quarter of 2025, it looks even better. Revenue was up 36% year over year. Adjusted gross margin was up 54%. Adjusted gross margin expanded to 54%, rather. Gross profit margin was gross profit was up by 40%. Adjusted EPS was up by 55%. And the most important segments of the business, which are right now are data center and the client segment, which is AMD's PC business, were up by 57% and 68% respectively when it comes to year-over-year revenue growth. So I kind of alluded to this earlier, but the big bull case to AMD is that it is a participant in some of the hottest tech trends around. I mentioned the AI trend. AMD's data center chip business is booming right now, as is most other companies that make chips for data center applications. AMD has a PC business. It has AI-focused chips for PCs, the Ryzen series, and those are selling very, very well. That's a big reason that that division was up so well. So there's a lot of catalysts fueling this company over the next few years. And a lot of data center growth has happened in the past few years, but this is expected to be a long-tailed trend as AI technology evolves. The data center market is expected to grow by 140% between now and the end of this decade. So even if AMD maintains its data center market share, which is pretty small compared to NVIDIA, the biggest player in the space, it could be a pretty big growth driver. It has announced some impressive wins recently, such as, IBM announced plans to deploy some of its data center chips. And there are some other applications too for generative AI applications. And there's a lot of traction on that side of the business. On the PC business, AMD has a great record in over the past decade, 2 decades of gaining ground on Intel, which is the industry leader. This is the most consumer-facing part of AMD's business. Pretty much every PC sold in the United States has either an Intel or an AMD processor, and the market share, Intel is still the leader, but it's been gradually and clearly shifting over time. So that's definitely a catalyst as well. They have the gaming division, which hasn't been the best performer lately, but is a big part of the business. And then there's the embedded segment, which produces chips for things like mobile devices and autonomous vehicles, which could be a really interesting market opportunity because the autonomous vehicle market is growing even faster than the data center space. And AMD produces some essential chips for autonomous applications. And you can't go through the bull case without mentioning AMD's leadership, particularly CEO Lisa Su. At the time she took over the company, AMD was it was like a penny stock. It was a $3 stock. It was generally known as the second-rate producer of CPUs for PCs, and that's really it. She completely reinvented the company, really redesigned its product line, decided to capitalize on the AI boom, and shareholders have been handsomely rewarded since then, even with the recent decline. AMD's produced 11 times the S&P 500's total return since Lisa Su took over. So let's talk about the bear case because there are risks to every investment. There are a lot of questions in the market and legitimate ones about AI spending. We know that over the past 2 years, it's been really a boom time for AI. A lot of companies are spending a lot of money on data center build-outs and things like that. There are some questions about whether that's sustainable or whether it's going to continue. whether companies might start pumping the brakes on AI spending entirely. There's the uncertainty surrounding tariffs. A lot of AMD's products are sold abroad, so there's a lot of uncertainty there. There is, and I mean, you can't really mention the bear case without mentioning AMD's incredibly strong competition. NVIDIA has a technology advantage over AMD. It just does for the time being. There's a reason that it has a 95% market share of the data center space. It is an incredibly strong competitor, so that's definitely part of the bear case. AMD's done a great job of kind of carving out its own niche, but there's no guarantee that will continue. So to wrap it all up, where will AMD be in 5 years? So AMD is near its lowest forward price to earnings multiple since the 2022 bear market, despite excellent momentum in the business right now. If management can keep its earnings growth alive and its forward PE kind of starts reverting toward where it was a year and a half ago, this stock could double or more within 5 years. That is a big if. There's a lot of execution risks, and as we just mentioned in the bear case section, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So it's not a sure thing by any means, but AMD does have the capability of delivering market-beating returns for at least the next 5 years, if not more, if things go well. So if you're ready to discover more investment opportunities in technology and beyond, go to fool.com/invest to receive the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So that's it for today. If you found this insight valuable, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and help make our community smarter by sharing your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Stay foolish, and we will see you next time.